Hey everybody. So I want to talk about the Metropolitan Division a little bit here because this division is wide open and very, very close from top to bottom. There's not a lot of separation between many of these teams, and it's an absolute dogfight to get into a playoff position at this point in this division. So when we look at the Metro standings where they sit now, you have Washington leading the way with 37 points. They've been playing great hockey. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They've taken control of this division right now. Columbus is in second place with 34 points. The New York Islanders are currently in third place with 32 points. Pittsburgh is also at 32 points, the first team out of a playoff spot. The New York Rangers have 31 points. Carolina has 30. Philadelphia has 27. And New Jersey has 26. So right now, only three teams from the Metro would get into the playoffs. That's Washington, Columbus, and New York. And five teams obviously would come from the Atlantic. That's if the season ended right now. I don't know if it's going to stay that way all year long. I definitely think there's a chance it could, given we've had some surprisingly good teams in the Atlantic. The Atlantic Division is definitely better, at least at the top, better than the Metro Division this year. So we might only see three Metro teams get in. That is a very real possibility. At most, it would be four with a Metro team climbing into that second wild card spot. But anyway, this division is so close and so wide open. You look at there's so little between these teams. From first place Washington with 37 points all the way down to last place New Jersey with 26, it's only an 11-point difference. And that's by far the smallest difference between a first and last place team in any division in the NHL right now. There's not a lot separating these teams. And the race is even closer when you go towards teams fighting for that last playoff spot. You've got Pittsburgh with 32 points, tied with the Islanders at 32, but Islanders get in on tiebreakers right now. The Rangers are only a point out at 31. Carolina's only 2 points out at 30, and even Philly and New Jersey, who people are pretty much counting out already, myself included a little bit, but you really can't completely count them out yet, because as bad of a year as Philadelphia is having, they're only 5 points out of a playoff spot. And as bad of a year as New Jersey is having and how tough it's been, only 26 points through 29 games, they're only 6 points out of a playoff spot. So if they win 3 or 4 games in a row, and the Islanders and Pittsburgh lose 3 or 4 games in a row, all of a sudden New Jersey's climbing the standings and the other team is dropping. So, there's no team that's really out of it yet. There are certainly teams that we can watch and go, yeah, this doesn't look like a playoff team, and they're probably not going to come back. But Philly and New Jersey are only one decent winning streak away from being right back into playoff contention. And there's no other division in the NHL where you can't count anyone out yet. When you look at the Atlantic, Ottawa's not going to the playoffs. I'm sorry, but they're not. And there are some other teams in the Atlantic too that are in deep, deep holes. Florida, especially. When you look at out west, Chicago's not going to the playoffs. Chicago stinks. LA's not going to the playoffs. Vancouver's not going to the playoffs. You can count teams out in those divisions. It's easy to count out Philly and New Jersey now, but I don't think you can really officially count them out yet, because, like I said, they're only 5 and 6 points out of a playoff spot. This is the only division that is completely on top of each other like this. There are other wide open divisions, but there's always at least a couple teams, down and out. This division has no one that's really down and out because, they're only a few points back. And in hockey is a streaky sport. You can easily go from having a bad under 500 season to a point where maybe, you're only winning, 4 out of 10 games, All of a sudden, you go on an 8-game win streak, you get hot, goals start going in, you get freakishly good goaltending for a few games, you go win 7 or 8 in a row, and all of a sudden, you go from down here to right up here. That's how the NHL works, and that's how these tight divisions work, and the Metro is a very tight division right now. I would say Washington is probably going to win the division. They're, I think, the best team, and they're playing the best hockey right now in this entire division. They look like they're going to take the top spot. After that, I mean, Columbus has been impressive at times, but then at other times have been very unimpressive. The Islanders, no one even thought they were supposed to be a last place team. Pittsburgh's been a pretty big disappointment this year. People thought Pittsburgh would be up with Washington competing for the division title, and they've had a 500 start, really. A little over 500 now, but not a great start to the year for the Penguins. The Rangers were supposed to be a last-place team. You know, the two New York teams weren't supposed to be anywhere near where they are right now. They were supposed to be the teams down here. They haven't been. Carolina, they're only 2 points out of a playoff spot. They've been okay this season. They had a really, really hot start, but they have really come down since then. They've been okay this season. They're only 2 points out. And then Philly and New Jersey have had real rough seasons so far. Not good starts. But, again, they're only a few points out, so you can't really completely count them out yet. I mean, Philadelphia is under strict marching orders to make the playoffs this year. It's going to be hard, absolutely. Look at all these teams they have to jump. But it's not going to be impossible. They're only 5 points back. You go on a 6-game win streak, I mean, that makes up your 5 points against a lot of these teams. They would definitely jump Carolina in the Rangers. That'd get them right up there with Pittsburgh and New York competing for that last playoff spot. All it would take would be a 5 or 6 game win streak. I mean, it's so close. It is so close. So, more than any other division, the Metro Division, they are all right on top of each other. There are not a lot of points separating these teams, and it is a wide open race for the playoffs. I mean, I think Washington is pretty set, confirmed playoff team. Columbus is probably a playoff team, but other than that, that third spot and maybe a wild card spot is completely up for grabs for any of these teams left. I mean, Carolina could take it. The Islanders could continue what they're doing and surprise everyone and take it. Pittsburgh obviously would be, I think, most people's top choice to turn things around and end up making it. The Rangers could make it to the surprise of everyone, although I don't think they will. Carolina even could come back and take it. And then Philly and New Jersey, again, like I said, they're 1 win streak away from getting right back into it. So the Metro Division is definitely a division to watch this year. The rest of this season especially, just looking at the fight for those playoff spots because it is wide, wide open. Every team still has a chance, and it's going to be an absolute dogfight throughout the rest of the season. The interdivisional games are going to be so intense and so important for these teams because anytime these teams meet up with each other, I mean, it's going to be a spot in the standings on the line most nights. So, going to be exciting hockey, and it's going to be a fun race to watch. So, with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. Check out offthewallhockey.com. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon page as well as our merchandise store where you can get this hat as among many other products are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.